Hello there, welcome wherever it is you are tuned in from, Kenya, East Africa, and around the world. Today we'll be talking about running a startup. Now, Kenya's startup ecosystem has been one of the most robust in Africa, receiving the highest amounts of funding. But as all this go on, the euphoria has not just been just that. There's been setbacks, challenges here and there, and founders have been caught being a little too excited about raising funds and not doing the work, not remembering that at the end of the day, they're running a business. So, what is it like to run a startup on a day-to-day basis? Are there going to be setbacks? How do you manage failure? What lessons do you pick up from your business? And by the way, your product is not always the best. So how do you take that feedback, iterate, and make your product better for your clients and for your customers? That and so much more from a seasoned innovator and engineer. He'll be here with us throughout the show. But first off, the tech news of the week. This week's tech news focuses on the transport sector, particularly the ride-hailing applications. Drivers of key taxi hailing apps have illegally started charging riders higher fares by an extra 400 shillings per trip as the drivers move to make good their threat of turning to unorthodox pricing moves. A number of riders in Nairobi have reported cases where operators of the three digital taxi hailing applications have printed price lists which are higher than the ones indicated whenever a rider requests a ride. Additionally, the operators have capped minimum fares to not less than 300 shillings in illegal charges that in most cases led to confrontations between a rider and operator at the same time of paying for a ride. Uber operators, for instance, in early July warned that they will start to overcharge riders unless the ride-hailing firms include them in discussions on the pricing models, arguing that the drivers incur the bulk of operational costs. The illegal move brings to sharp focus the sour relationship that the ride-hailing firms have had with operators in the market like Kenya in recent times, notably over issues like the commission charged per ride. Riders on the digital taxi hailing applications usually pay the amount indicated on their apps. These charges are at times lower when the firms offer discounted pricing in a bid to woo users. A notice on the illegal charges shows that riders are being compelled to pay between 100 shillings and 200 shillings more for a trip whose pricing as shown on the application is between 500 shillings and 1000 shillings. Riders are now paying between 100 and 150 shillings per trip, whose price as indicated on the application ranges between 300 to 500. Uber downplayed the moves, only saying that riders subjected to the illegal charges should escalate the matter for disciplinary action to be taken on the drivers involved in the vice. Drivers had early this month gone on a strike to protest the pricing decisions, improved security features, and revised systems for deactivating drivers over their safety. In July 2022, the government then compelled e-hailing companies to accept a flat commission fee of 18% from 25% in a bid to protect drivers who had protested thinning margins due to high commissions. The move also brings into question why riders are using the apps to overcharge riders, given that before they sign up, which is a breach of the contracts that they sign with the applications. Uber and Bolt, for instance, have been involved in disputes with their drivers over the pricing models in other countries, but this is the first time that drivers have slapped riders with extra charges on top of what is indicated on the applications. Riders have reported cases where the drivers request riders to cancel rides, mainly in cases of highly discounted prices, especially on Uber. The popularity of digital taxi hailing applications has been growing in Kenya, driving the vast spread of internet and working middle class. Very well. Charles, you are a serial innovator, guy who's been in the startup ecosystem for a minute. How did you get here, and what startup do you run?
What we do at Bewabegi is we offer short-term storage, secure short-term storage as a service for commuters in Nairobi CBD through ATM lockers. Picture your daily routines, you're running errands here and there. You may need somewhere where you can basically put your items for some few hours securely because one of the biggest factor that people do not even know is Nairobi is the ninth most unsafe and insecure city in Africa. The crime to safety index is 59 to 41. That literally means 59% of the times you're walking in town, you're not safe. So we saw a gap there, and the founding journey has been quite stretchy. It has come with a lot of lessons. Also, given the fact that we have bootstrapped, we've never fundraised. So I think the journey traces back to when I started building Bebabegi in 2013. At the time, it was just basically a tabletop project that I was just doing out of for fun, until I actually did encounter theft and mugging. I remember back in the day, I was with my friend who apparently passed on, but we were changing matatus between town to Isili, and you're carrying your laptop, and then it's a rush hour, so there's a lot of movement, and within no time, when we were already inside the matatu, the laptop was gone. So I went into deep research and found out that there is a magnitude of over 2.5 million daily average commuters in Nairobi CBD every day who are affected by this menace. So I think now from that point, it was now intentional. So I started building. By the time I was in campus, so there was the school, and then there is also the money factor. So it took me quite a while. It took me 5 years to build the first prototype, which was basically a plastic. And then 1 year later, in 2018, towards the end, I happened to meet Africa Stocking, or rather Sam Gikandi, the CEO of Africa Stocking, and we got some small funding to build the first POC. That's a proof of concept. And within 7 months, we had a locker that we could showcase. But then over time, there's the market adoption. This is a new technology. People are not used to this. So much as we're solving a problem that a lot of people face, there was the other factor of telling them how the whole technology even works. Given the fact that we also use PESA and we use the automatic prompt payment. And everybody will be like, if I'm inputting my phone number, my M-Pesa phone number on the system, how can I trust you with my money? People do not know about these technologies. So in 2019, around July, we also partnered with another local production company called Ashut. So Ashut, up to date, are still our partners. They produce for us the metallic body, the hardware. Now, one thing I also have to confess is the fact that this is an IoT product, Internet of Things. So basically, that means that it has a hardware component to it, attached to it. And that has seen us really struggle to fundraise. Because every time there's a conversation where there's asset-heavy innovation, the question is always, when do I get my money back? These are things that have a lifespan. So if they're not used for, like basically trying to convince most of the investors to understand that the hardware will have already generated back its money. And we never raised per se, but we did get some support from Africa Stocking. So I think in 2019, we put our first lockers in industrial area. Ashut actually, by the way, they are the biggest furniture manufacturers in East and Central Africa. So that was really, really big for us.
Somewhere along the way, things started going rough in your startup journey. How was that like for you? Where did you notice there is that downward spiral in your innovation journey?
I can actually break it down in two phases. The first one was during COVID. There was no money movement. There was literally nobody was actually moving. So the spending culture was kind of cut. And I think you can even feel it even right now. Post-COVID, a lot of people are kind of reserved on how they use money. So we were really, really affected, but thanks to Africa Stocking, we didn't entirely feel the heat of office space. How do we pay our people? But we were not making money at the time. But now the biggest nightmare that came is when officially Africa Stocking shut down the whole studio company lab, and we were now completely in the dark. So you need to keep the business running, you need to pay your guys. So at this point is where you start mitigating, or rather you start finding contingency plans. How do you work with people who actually believe in the dream that you're sharing with them? And I think was fortunate enough to start working with a brand new team. The whole team had to go. I mean, people have bills, so if you can't pay them, they'll just tell you, I think this is where it ends for us. So in 2022, again, we started experiencing a serious downtime. We couldn't extend our marketing services. In fact, from that point, most of our customers were either returning or referrals. But I think the biggest breakthrough in 2022 came, the first half of the entire 2022 was like almost, we were literally in a valley. But I think what lifted us is when we sold lockers to the government. Yeah, we sold lockers to ODPP, Office of the Director of Public Prosecution. And I remember at the time the problem was, you know, a lot of files usually disappear in courts. You find that, I don't know, files are mysteriously disappearing and then cases are thrown away. So when they came to us, they told us, you guys, you make electronic lockers. Can you guys build us this system in such a way that if it's Branch who opens that locker, Branch is the one we should question, if it's myself. And up to date, the lockers are working perfect. I think that was when we closed one of the biggest B2B sales. Actually, that was a B2G.
At that point, when you are noticing your downward spiral is here, are you getting any support from any financiers or venture capitalists? What was the situation like in terms of your funding model?
I think that's, I usually call it startup suicide. Yeah, for real. I mean, if your business is entirely dependent on a VC's money or an investor's money, then trust me, you're in the wrong place. You need to find, because there will be times where the business will be, you literally feel the heat. Now, one thing I've noticed with my fellow founders is people are starting companies to fundraise. And that's a very wrong notion. For me, I think the reason why Beba Begi has been firm and strong is the fact that for me it's a passion. It's personal. And that's why I was saying that bootstrapping has taught me lessons that if I had fundraised, I wouldn't have learned. Probably Beba Begi will be buried 6 feet by now if probably I have fundraised. So one of the things that usually come with founders, and it's a good thing that a lot of people are actually thinking of, you know, coming up with new solutions that address real problems. And that's a very good thing. The only problem is, where is the execution? I have seen a lot of competition. And the problem is, you know that person, but the one reason why you're starting your startup is because you have seen a weakness in him, or rather in his startup, and that's your selling point. I don't think, for me, even if somebody will come into this space right now and start saying, you know what, we are doing storage, I will actually be happy for them. I mean, the market is so big for all of us to fit in. I really don't think the two intentions why people start, I think people lose that sense of why startups need to exist. Startups exist for two things: solving serious problems for the African person. The other thing I've also realized with founders is we are not, founders give up really easily, very quick. Like if you've been through this entire journey, you'll realize that, I don't know, I can count almost 20 startups that, I mean, founders that I know like this, who started, but then along the way you start finding some small problems. Okay, I won't say they're small, problems are problems, but you find that that's the one reason why they exist. Now, if you can't have that level of resilience, you really need to have a tenacity of a very high caliber, because being a founder, you know, it's being a founder is one of the most difficult things. People actually look at it as a very good thing, which is true. I mean, if I'm running my company, you know, somebody who's doing 8 to 5 will be like, you're the most free person, I don't know. But that's not true. Branji, I sleep for 2-3 hours sometimes because I have to literally address the problems of my customers.
So you've gone through the whole process and it's been excruciating, painful to mention the least. Your biggest lessons and take homes from failing as a startup founder and then coming back up.
I think one of the biggest things that this entire journey has brought for me personally is the fact that bootstrapping has taught me a lot of things that I don't think I would have learned if I had fundraised. Right now, if I fundraise, I know where to channel money. I know what to prioritize. But back in the day, I think if you would have given me money, I think we will be one of the people regretting why we never really had a plan. So it's a very painful process. This is true. Bootstrapping is a painful process because this is your baby, but you're seeing your baby starving. It's like literally seeing your baby starving. So at this point, you have to do every single thing you can to actually keep things running. But I really do want to appreciate my co-founder, or rather my CTO, Ken. He has been actively part of the team. I remember when things were really bad, and I almost gave up. Actually, Ken was like, "No. I think we need to continue paying for more resources." Because you see, initially the system was based on the Africa Stocking infrastructure, and there were some products that Africa Stocking took down. And we tried patching that up. It was impossible. We spent almost 8 months, and that's a lot of money, because now we are using online platforms, cloud. We are using connectivity fees, or rather SIM cards from Safaricom. All these things are paid monthly. We're using Google G Suites, and this kept on really downplaying us. So at that point, I think, is when we kind of recouped together and we said, wait, if we cannot, if people cannot use our lockers simply because we don't have marketing, the financial strength for marketing, then why don't we go for the businesses? So we started selling lockers to businesses. And to date, I will tell you that a lot of people who, a lot of the funding that we've gotten is just based on the fact that we've sold one client who was happy, took it to another client who was referred. And actually, we've been growing ever since from there. So today we have served over 1,700 customers. And the good thing is 71% of them come back to reuse.
Founders can be very emotional with their innovations.
That's obvious.
How do you tell a founder that they have a skunk and they need it to iterate and be better?
Because one thing that founders do is we always think we are the best. So we are building our solution based on how we feel about it. And that's also a very not nice thing to do with your startup. You need to understand your biggest person to actually get insights from is your customer, not yourself. So you coming in and saying, there's this new feature, and then now it's doing all this, and then you push in money there, and that's part of what usually happens when people fundraise. When you fundraise, you now think you have the financial muscle to overbuild, only for you to realize that it's going to waste a lot of money. So for me, it came as a learning lesson, because the lockers that we first took, we had some problems. Users were not happy using 1, 2, 3, and we have constantly kept on iterating. And by the way, we have the newest version of the lockers that we launched in June 13th in Movenpick. We are now accommodating quite a number of payment methods. We have introduced rent a locker, where you don't now need to come in and use the lockers. You can just rent the locker. It's like just renting your shop, and then you sell your stuff online there. Your customers come and pick. So I think these are problems that were brought to us by the customers, because at first we were just like, we are storage.
Finally, given a chance, would you want to do anything else or to innovate anything else that perhaps would excite you, or you are sticking with this and going the long haul?
I think up to where I am right now, I'm dying with Bebabegi.
Thank you so much, Charles, for making time for us on NTV Takeover. We really appreciate. I think one of the biggest things we're learning from Charles's journey running a startup, and for any other founder out there, is that no one starts to fail. But definitely, failures are going to be there along the way. In fact, one of my biggest and my best speakers to ever have been, for me to be following, Vusi Tembekwayo, says that he wants to do business with somebody who has failed before and known how to come back up. So figure that out. It's not a question of if, but when. But no, we are not scaring you. That is the startup journey. Ask anyone who's been in business, it happens. Myself too. Takeover takes a short break. We'll be back with more. Don't go too far. Welcome back. You're watching Takeover, Africa's biggest tech conversation. Time now for Startup of the Week, and here then is our founder this week. If you're a typical Kenyan, chances are you have bought excess airtime once or twice or even more times in your communication life. Frankly, I have. And the biggest struggle normally is losing cash that you had other plans for and are trying to recover the money through hawking the excess airtime amongst family and friends may definitely not be the best approach towards recouping your money. Stephen Ngathen Njoroge, a software engineer, and his team saw the challenge in the Kenyan market and founded UjuziCraft, the parent company to the airtime conversion platform Airtime to PESA.
UjuziCraft is a software company, and we develop a number of solutions, majorly apps that are aimed at saving cost for a normal person. So for our first application is Airtime to PESA. So this application came up after we were doing another app for Chama, and we are interacting with the women, and we saw that they were purchasing. We went to Marigiti and we saw that they were purchasing like maybe 8,000 worth of airtime, and they needed to convert it back. So because they were converting from the bank, there was no solution for that, and we took it, and it became quite much, and we had to create an app that would be enabling these people to be converting.
The system that also serves as a retail distribution gateway for airtime for majority of telcos in Kenya and East Africa, with discounted business models that sustains the startup.
We are 1 year in, and 253,000 downloads. So meaning that there is a need for that particular application. So we are based on honesty. Like we have, just in case there is any issue, we have a customer care that's very supportive, 24 hours. So we also sell that airtime at a discount. So if you want to buy 1,000 worth of airtime, we give you just send to our till, and you're able to get 10% more, which is a bargain for at this hard times that you have.
Besides having the application, Steven and team have a USSD code that caters for the feature phone users. So just in case you bought excess airtime, here's how you can get a cashback.
Within the app, we are able to purchase, like if you want to purchase, to convert 1,000, so you have 1,000 worth of airtime, when you send to our application, you get 700, and we keep the 30%. So, and also when you are selling, we sell at a 10% discount. So we are making about 20% discount. So we also sell for merchants or Safaricom vendors that want to meet their target. For some reason, they are not able to meet their target, and we are able to have a solution for them so that they can be able to purchase. We can be able to purchase a large volume, and because we've been able to get the other side of the market, we are able to sell in bulk, making just very shallow margin on that.
Cyber attacks remain the single most threat to their business as hackers keep them up all night updating their security systems.
There are a lot of guys, not even attempted successful ones, and you lose money, and you have to guarantee the end user that they will get their money. So that has been tough. There are a lot of clever people out here. These guys in JQuat and all that, they're able to compromise your server and have successful attempts. But it's a continuous platform where we've been able to build on those security loopholes that we've been able to see. Part of the concept is insured, so that we can't, just in case there is such losses, we're able to counter them. But on the side of the user, it's 100% that they will get what you promised. So within the app, like you see on the demo, we are sure that if you're getting 70%, it's 70%, nothing more, nothing less. And also, if we are giving you more, we ensure that we're giving you more. So we keep our word on that, and that's what has made us grow from just 0 to over 230K users in just less than 1 year. Yeah.
Steven credits their success to several innovations that have carried key lessons in their innovation journey that continues to set eyes on new opportunities in Africa.
Our first application that we did was mRent. So it's just a platform that enables you to, as a property owner, to manage all the affairs of your real estate affairs. So when it comes to receipting of payments, integrated with the PESA so that it's automated, you just pay and you get an SMS receipt as a tenant. It's verifiable and all that, and it avoids that. That's where the conmen sending SMSs and all that. So you're able to confirm if anything, that the notification should be coming from the platform. So we also did Chama, which is a platform for chamas. Like you're able to contribute within a chama, and the members are able to have accountability on a WhatsApp platform. So it's when we create a group, it will be automated admin within the chama, which is chatbot enabled. So that was a project that was funded by Mozilla Foundation, and we are able to get at least 7,000 women, because it was focused on women. We were able to have them in the platform. That was the product that led us when we are going to Marigiti and we are seeing the issues that these people are facing. Yeah, so we just came up with Airtime to PESA. Yeah, so Airtime to PESA will be going to UG. We are in the last stages of integration with the MTN and Vodafone in Tanzania.
And that's our startup this week. I tell you, Kenyans never stop amazing me. I've also bought airtime before, and it's been a lot of airtime, and I didn't know how to convert it. Well, happy to know that there are solutions around that. Let's now get the tech tip of the week and close the show.
Hi guys, and welcome to this week's tech tip of the week. Today I'll be sharing with you one tip which is going to preserve your phone's battery life. So if you're charging your phone, please do not use it when you're charging it. What happens when you use your phone when you're charging is that it causes heat, and heat is one of the biggest enemies to the phone's battery. And every time you use your phone when it is charging, a lot of heat is being caused and it is slowly destroying your phone's battery. So wait until your phone is charged, or if you have to use it, just disconnect it from power, and this will greatly preserve your phone's battery health. That's it for this week. See you in the next one.
Very well, now you know how to run a startup. You already know what's been happening in the tech world. We've shown you how you can convert excess airtime that you've bought when you're in PESA and get a bit of a cashback. And the tech tip of the week. Fair place to leave it at. Thank you for making time for NTV Takeover. We will be here again next week, same place, same time. My name is Brian Jojotieno, NTV's in-house techie. May tech live forever.